Hey everyone, Brian Porter here from the Porter Pickup Showroom. Welcome to the shop. If you haven't been here, if you haven't seen the shop, excited to show you more of it in the future. You may have seen videos that we've made in this room. I think it's been 7 years-ish, 8 years or so since we did this pallet wall, kind of something different, just to show off, the guitars and kind of just create like this cool place for people to come and to hang out. So happy 2025. This is our first video of the year. Before I get into the topic of today, I want to mention we've got some beautiful GK drives. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing the pictures of them. I've got the matte army green with the orange logo, which is my favorite look. And we have our classic ruby red logo with cream. So these are very cool, light to medium gain pedals. They can kind of be set up as a boost. We've got it running before a couple other drive pedals on our pedal board here in the shop as well. And it's really versatile. I love where you can kind of place it different places on your board, and it really works really well. So this is our first foray into pedals. And I think we're gonna be doing some other pedals this year. There's a lot of moving and shaking parts for this year, and I'll get into some of that in a different video, but really today's topic is something that's been on my mind in the last couple of years. This time, now 5 years ago, we were just about ready to load up and go to the NAMM show, and I was thinking back through like meeting different companies at the NAMM show, meeting the owners of companies. Some people I knew and some people I didn't know. And it really made me think about the type of people that run companies. These are people who are willing to take risks and they're willing to put themselves out there. But also, it's interesting to think about the type of people and then the way that they run their companies. There's no right way, or there's plenty of wrong ways, of course, and that's kind of the subject today, is just thinking through like, what kind of company do you want to run and how do you want to run it? And we've seen in the industry some people who don't run their companies very well, or maybe they just don't treat customers very well, or in our case, we've seen some companies that don't treat people well on the back end, but they put a front up that they kind of treat everyone right, and then in the back end they're kind of stabbing and stepping on whoever they need to go, and that's interesting to me in this industry. Some companies that have basically outright scammed people and then been more successful. That's something that just sort of drives me nuts. And again, we don't do things perfectly. I've made plenty of mistakes. But one of the things we want to try to do, of course, is just to do things right. And sometimes that doesn't mean that we're going to get very far in some ways, because we're not going to play a game, or we're not going to try to, I'm not going to try to change a personality to try to fit into a certain part of the industry or a certain segment or of customers. And I just find that happens over and over again. And it's all about marketing, no doubt. That's a statement a lot of people say. It's only how well you can market, and that's totally true. I look at people in our industry and think, they're charging 2 and 3 times what we're charging for pickups, and I think our prices are fair. They're not cheap, but I think they're fair for USA made stuff. But I see people charging 3 and 4 times, and I'm like, man, how do they get people to pay that? Because I'm trying to get people to pay like, a smaller portion of that. And then seeing people charging, $900 for a humbucker set, it just doesn't add up to me. Knowing what goes into them, and I don't think, whatever they're selling, whatever secret sauce they're selling, I don't think it's worth that extra money. And so there's just interesting things like that. And I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, get what you can get, right? It's a free market, they say, but I think it's trying to find that balance of, how do we help musicians? How do we also, provide for this shop and deal with the expenses of the shop? Some people say our prices are outrageous, and to that I would say, so are our bills, and so are the cost of living, and so is supporting family and these things like that. So it's kind of that whole thing. I'm wondering where you guys land on this subject. Again, I've kind of bounced around in a couple different areas. I've got a lot of video topics floating in my head, and I'm going to try to work those out into either podcasts or video form. But I'm curious what you guys think about, let's keep it positive. Who are some companies that you think run things very well, and why? I would love to know. Down in the comments on the YouTube channel, leave that down there. Who runs things the right way, and what do you like or what do you respect about those brands? You know, for me, it's companies like Tom Anderson Guitars. I really like their guitars for one, but I also like the way that they focus on the instrument, and ultimately it's kind of a focus on the player, right? The best instrument they can build is, you know, hopefully translating to people playing more. So what are some companies that inspire you, companies that you like? Give them a shout in the comments, and maybe there are companies that you'd like to see us have on our podcast or interview them as well. So that's all I got for you today. Again, a bunch of random kind of thoughts as we start out the year. I'm excited to kind of share with you guys some more news for Porter and just kind of some new ways of doing things. Always trying to reinvent, and I'll have a show kind of about that, like just kind of adjusting each year. This time is sort of like, where do we want to go? Where did we come from? And there's just a lot of stuff kind of going through my head at the beginning of the year, and I'm really excited to kind of share more of that with you guys, and again, just keep creating and building these products for you. So thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to reading your comments. I'm gonna reply to as many as I can down in the comments as well. Yeah, again, the ways, you know, sometimes it's customer service, right? One last thing is, you know, customer service, the way that you help people and the way that you take care of them is really important. But I'm always learning, and I'm always observing other companies, and I like to learn, you know, hey, they're doing this really good. They have a really good system of like handling a return, or a really good system of you know, making sure that the QC is up to like a certain standard before it goes out the door, so then they don't have problems. So let me know some companies you totally respect. That can be any part of the gear industry, down in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching.